Right, so 1 year ago I made a video discussing and somewhat comparing the Premier League careers of Salah and Ronaldo. And near the end of that video, I said I'll make a full breakdown / analysis only if you guys want. Well, update on that, I don't care what you want anymore. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I have to make this cause it's just getting ridiculous now. So yes, Salah versus Ronaldo. Who was the better Premier League player? Or more accurately, who was the better player while in England? Because yes, FA Cups, League Cups and Champions League performances will be taken into consideration here. Now the few of you who do watch my videos regularly would know that I usually have a criteria typed up in the beginning to try and avoid confusion as much as possible. It doesn't work, and here I'm going to similarly line up another criteria and tell you how much importance each section holds in the form of a percentage. But this time also explore each specific category in detail and tell you who out of Salah and Ronaldo wins out in each, and in the end come up with a score out of 100 for each player. For example, these are the 7 categories. Number 1, individual statistics. That'll hold 5% weight, or in other words, each player would be given a mark out of 5. Number 2, the eye test, 5% again. 3, collective success. Again, it's all relative and outside factors will be considered, but it is a team game at the end of the day, 10%. 4, longevity. Given that we are talking about each player's contributions over a pretty hefty portion of their career, it's a no-brainer this will have to feature, 15%. Number 5, big game displays. Always my favorite, as some of you would have known, 15%. Number 6, performance relative to team's performance. Now this may sound complicated, but it really isn't. Basically, we'll just go on a season-by-season basis, see how well their team did, see how well they did, and to what extent did their own displays contribute to the team's success. And this will count for 20%. And last and certainly the anti-least, consistency. Let's roll on. Number 1, individual statistics given out of 5. Right, so let's just off the bat address what I'm guessing for the slower people. For the younger people would be a point in contention. Why are individual statistics given only a 5% weight out of 100? And to address that, I'm just gonna play a clip I've already played a couple of times before to clear things up. If you've already seen it, I'll leave a timestamp so you can skip. Because what if I told you that Salah having a higher number of goals and assists than Ronaldo isn't a sign of how good he is or how bad Ronaldo was, but rather it's a sign of the times. Because simply put, it is categorically easier to score nowadays in Salah's era than it was during Ronaldo's initial spell at Manchester United. Don't believe me? Well, here's a random example. Well, in the 6 years Ronaldo spent at Old Trafford in the mid-2000s, Manchester United averaged just over 70 goals per season. Now this average back then was not only enough for them to win 3 back-to-back league titles, but finish as the top scoring team in the league, also on 3 occasions. On the other hand, in Salah's first 6 years at Liverpool from 2017 to 2023, his side scored exactly 80 league goals per season, almost 10 more than that great United side. And still, guess what? Not only did they win just 1 out of the possible 6 league titles, they finished as the top scoring team in the league a grand total of 0 times. And you know what? Just think about that. Where an average of 70 goals per season across 6 seasons was good enough for you to swipe up half of those titles 16 years ago, these days 80 per season is barely good enough to win 1. Like hell, the Liverpool team that finished 5th last season still managed to score 7 more goals than the United team who won the fucking league in 2009. I mean, if that's not a sign of the times, I don't know what is. And the specific reasons behind this is pretty straightforward. Football now favors attackers more so than it did at any time in recent history. Be it the evolution of tactics, changing of the rules, or even improvement in playing conditions. Cause you know it's no coincidence that practically all goal scoring records are being broken now. And again, it's less to do with how good a specific individual is and more to do with where the entire game is going. Like, ask yourself honestly, you really think Neymar is a better goal scorer than R9? Or Giroud is a better goal scorer than Henry? Be serious, will ya? And yes, similarly, stop directly comparing Salah and Ronaldo's Premier League numbers. And by the way, that's not just because of everything I just said, but also let's not forget, while they both on paper played on the right, their roles were completely different. Salah is a left-footed inverted winger who's tasked to either cut in and shoot or run beyond the false nine when Bobby Firmino was there. In contrast, Ronaldo was a right-footed wide midfielder whose job was to almost exclusively isolate a fullback, get on the outside and knock the ball across. Now you fucking tell me, how are you more likely to get more goals and assists? By cutting inside, getting involved in the link-up play, overloading the middle while your fullbacks provide the width, or going out wide yourself, crossing the ball and inshallah Van Nistelrooy is in there somewhere. It's a wonder why football moved on from those tactics. Anyways, as far as the score each player gets out of 5 in this category, well, no doubt Salah is ahead. Over 20 goals in each of his 8 seasons for Liverpool, including over 10 league goals also in each season, and not to mention a double figure of assists in every season bar 1. Brilliant. But he does lose points for warming the bench in 2 half seasons at Chelsea. Sorry, but that counts as English football too. I actually don't live far from Chelsea. I promise you it's in England. And as far as Ronaldo, well, his stats were never bad. I mean, given his position at the time as a wide midfielder, which is basically more similar to a wing-back than a winger nowadays, his stats in the first 4 seasons were pretty impressive. But then, of course, Ronnie just went crazy in the 07-08 season. While also, let's not forget, his dribbling and overall involvement stats bar his final season were pretty much always higher than Salah's. But yes, ultimately, outside factors be damned, Salah wins out. Points, Salah 4 out of 5, Ronaldo 2.5 out of 5. Number 2, the eye test, given out of 5. Joint least important, easily the most subjective. And look, the people who claim that Salah has been nothing but output are obviously wrong. Go back and look at the start of his Liverpool career and even a few moments at Chelsea. Man's a baller in every sense of the word. But, like, what was I gonna basically, if you dissect it yeah, anyways. Points, Salah 3 out of 5, Ronaldo 4.5 out of 5. Number 3, collective success, given out of 10. Now this actually isn't as clear cut as some of you may think, because you see in total, Salah has won 8 trophies in 8 years in England, while Ronaldo won 9 in 7.5. But yes, obviously, Ronnie 3-peating the Premier League kinda puts an end to any debate, and while Salah may creep closer once this season is done, he still has some ways to go to match Ronnie's success given the time period. Points, Salah 7 out of 10, Ronaldo 9 out of 10. Number 4, longevity, given out of 15. Okay, so why do people act like there's a world of difference here? My man, Salah has played for 7 full seasons and, as of recording, 3 half seasons in England for Liverpool and Chelsea, while Ronaldo has played 7 full seasons and 1 half season in England for Manchester United. Salah is 26th in Liverpool's all-time appearances list, Ronaldo is 43rd in Manchester United's all-time appearances list, Salah is 3rd in Liverpool's all-time top scorers list, Ronaldo is 11th in Manchester United's all-time top scorers list. So yeah, there's a clear winner, but don't act like we're comparing Giggs and Di Maria. Points, Salah 10 out of 15, Ronaldo 7 out of 15. Number 5, big game displays, given out of 15. Listen, I'm going to be fully transparent with you. I genuinely had close to 0 clue on how poor Salah's record is in finals with Liverpool, until it basically began circling around in social media the other day following his performance in the Carabao Cup final. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but all he has is that 1 penalty against Tottenham from all the finals he played for Liverpool. That's diabolical, that. But of course, stats are just a part of it. But even then, ask yourself honestly, can you remember a final that Salah played for Liverpool where he wasn't quite easily marked out of a game? Exactly. And bro, if finals were the only big games, I wouldn't have elaborated any further. But obviously, quarterfinals, semi-finals, elimination games, more games against the top 4, they all count as big games. And to be fair, on that front, 4 out of Salah's favourite English opponents are City, United, Tottenham and Arsenal. And bro, that is impressive. But nah, he's up against a demon here. And no, by the way, I'm not even going to talk about Ronaldo's goals in UCL, FA Cup and League Cup finals. Everyone knows about those things. And no, I'm not going to talk about big game stats either. Again, Ronaldo in 4 out of his 7 seasons in England was a wide midfielder. And man, it genuinely pisses me off when younger wet wipes try to debate this and use screenshots from magazine and TV clips from that time as evidence. What are you doing? I watched him. I'm telling you he was a wide midfielder. Idiot. But yes, given the job he had, even in the big games where Ronnie didn't score or assist, he was almost always the most important player for United. For example, he ran Barca ragged in both legs of the 08 UCL semis, no goals, no assists. He tortured the Arsenal Invincibles in the 04 FA Cup semis, no goals, no assists. And one example I specifically want to give, because I believe it's on YouTube, go and watch Manchester United versus Liverpool from like September or October 2004, the game at Old Trafford. That is where you'd get a good idea of Cristiano's role in the majority of his United career, and in turn that is where you'd also get a good idea of what a wide midfielder really was. Again, no goals and assists, but again, probably the best player on the pitch. Points: Salah 6 out of 15, Ronaldo 11 out of 15. Number 6, performance relative to team given out of 20. Now I'm pretty sure this category is a new one to most of you, because let's face it, we don't usually look this deep, do we? It's just a lot easier to just look at their numbers or trophies and spew out BS like this lady did the other day. No disrespect. So yeah, this category somewhat connects the ones for individual statistics and collective success. That is, when these two guys were at their best, to what extent did their team benefit from their performances? It is a team game, in case you didn't know. So let's start with Salah first. Now in terms of stats, Salah's best season at Merseyside is undoubtedly his first. 44 goals and 14 assists in 52 games. But again, that did little to nothing to improve Liverpool from the previous season. They finished in the same position in the league, but this time with a point less, and got knocked out of the FA Cup in the same round. But did make it to the UCL final, so more than fair enough. But even then, I think it's fair to say that that's not the type of progress you'd expect given his numbers. And genuinely, with an exception of probably this season, this has been somewhat of a consistent theme in Salah's Liverpool career. Whenever his team is at their best, the best player is usually someone else. In the 18-19 season, when they won the Champions League and achieved 97 points in the league, both Van Dijk and Mane played the bigger role. In 1920, when Liverpool finally got their hands on the Premier League, it was again more because of Van Dijk and Mane. And also, I'd argue even Bobby Firmino played a bigger role in Liverpool's success that season than Salah. But then in the 2021 season, where Salah was probably even the league's best player, let alone Liverpool won nothing. He's been pretty consistently brilliant since then, and bar 2 fortunate penalty shootouts in 2022, Liverpool have been pretty consistently unsuccessful since then. Also, Chelsea won the league after shipping him to Italy, if you want to count that. And look, I'm not saying Salah doesn't contribute to success. Of course he does. He's been Liverpool's main man, but he wasn't always Liverpool's best player. In contrast, Ronaldo's performances from even early on always played a much bigger impact on his team. He had a very good FA Cup run in 03-04. United won the FA Cup in 03-04. He had another great FA Cup run in 04-05. United made it to the final and only lost on penalties in 04-05. He finally reached the elite level in the Premier League and had a stellar League Cup run in 05-06. United finally went back to competing in the Premier League and won the League Cup in 05-06. He then began dominating all competitions in the following 3 years. United dominated football in the following 3 years. And that, my friends, tells you much more about the impact of a player than blind numbers ever would. And due to all that, you may think this is easily Ronaldo's field, right? Well, not quite, because let's not forget his return season, where once again Ronnie got the bronze in the EPL scoring charts, but Manchester United fared worse than they were the previous season. Not saying it's his fault, and boy was he far from being the problem, but we can't ignore the fact that that did happen. Ergo, it does factor. Points: Salah 12 out of 20, Ronaldo 18 out of 20. And finally number 7, consistency marked out of 30. Well then, how do you even start a debate with this? 8 full seasons versus 7 full seasons. 8 world-class seasons versus 5 world-class seasons. Well, the truth is, you can, and of course you can. Here's how you can. So firstly, as I already said, Salah warming the bench in 2 half seasons at Chelsea obviously weighs him down. And while some of you may be saying, well, he was young at Chelsea, he wasn't fully developed yet, you do know Ronaldo at that same age was winning Premier Leagues and had 38 goal contributions in all competitions, right? But yeah man, no doubt, once Salah came back to England, there was no stopping him. He has arguably been world class every season. He has inarguably been prolific every season. Now as for Ronaldo, while we all know about his final 3 years at United. Most people forget this, but you do realize he was also world class in the 05-06 campaign too. Not only did he make the Premier League Team of the Year, if that means anything to you, but he was also crucial in all of United's key victories that season. Be it the victory against Chelsea in November, the victory against Arsenal in April, and of course the League Cup final. And of course we shan't forget his brilliant output in that shambolic excuse of a United team when he came back. So again, closer than you think, and again, don't judge consistency by just stats, and again, don't make me play that clip again. Points: Salah 26 out of 30, Ronaldo 20 out of 30. Final score: Mohamed Salah's career in England so far gets 68 out of 100, Cristiano Ronaldo's career in England gets 72 out of 100. So basically a similar level, and yes, if Salah wins the league this year and also stays and does some madness next year, he may very well go ahead. And that is still not quite that, because of course, once I realized how much you lot love those stupid comparison sports, I'm gonna have to whip it out again, aren't I? Beggars can't be choosers, some things never change. Comparing Mohamed Salah with Premier League Ronaldo. First category, dribbling. Both class dribblers, but it's pretty straightforward choice. Not only was CR more prolific, not only was CR significantly superior as far as silky skills and sweet and sound aesthetics are concerned, but he was all that when it was considerably harder to be all that. So no doubt, he's all that. 1-0 CR7. Next category, heading. 2-0 CR7. Next up, weak foot. This is sad. Ronnie again. Speed. Salah is football quick. Ronaldo was sprinter quick. Clear difference. Strength. Ooh, you know what? This may be controversial, but think of it this way. Ronaldo only really grew into his body in the second half of his spell, while Salah arrived as a man. A little unfair, but a clear point to mow nonetheless. Passing, another very close call. Salah had the stats and mindset, Ronaldo had the range and crossing. I'm gonna give this a tie. And finally, goal scoring. If this was prime Ronaldo, it'd be a massacre, but it's not him, and therefore, it's not him. Point to Mo. And what do you know? Similar stories to the full breakdown. Ronnie's a winner, albeit a marginal winner. But obviously that doesn't mean you can't go the other way and not be right. Of course you can. Like I've said before, these guys are both in my Premier League all-time 11 and there really isn't much separating them. But please either, number one, do your research before judging them, or two, if you can't be bothered with that, judge them only as deeply as the research you've done. What I mean is basically don't walk in clueless and still give strong opinions. And not just in football, there are more important things in life than that. I just can't stand people who act like they know more than they do or are more passionate than they really are. Trust me, don't do that. It may make you feel more important at the moment, but in the long run, it ain't good for anyone or anything. Not for the subject in question, not for the topic in hand, not for anyone involved, and most importantly, not even for yourself. And that is that. Agree or disagree beats indifference. Once again, don't forget to like, comment and share, and of course, subscribe. Till next time, Eid Mubarak. Hopefully I'll have more energy in the next video, and as always, keep rolling.